Under the red-hot sun of an early August morning, Freddie Hallman and the Grant Cougars begin preparations for a new season.
Quick, eyes inside. Hurry up. Let's try it again.
A high school football coach for more than 30 years, the first day of preseason camp is like Christmas morning for Hallman. But ahead of the 2018 season, the presents under the tree are scarce. The first day of camp sees just 27 players dress out.
Everybody had opportunity to be a contributor to a program when you only have that many. Hopefully not a season we'll ever have to go through again.
The Cougars roster numbers well below the average among other Class 4A schools. They are the extreme of a problem that many schools in Central Louisiana face: lack of player participation.
Summer workouts were sporadic in numbers. You may have 20 kids show up, but never the same 20 every day. You know, it's a different way trying to get kids back and forth. I don't care how many years experience you got. It's a tough deal to try to deal with numbers.
You have to have a guy who is typically wouldn't be an offensive lineman that has to play offensive line. You have a guy who typically doesn't even play football, who now, because he's on campus and he's a boy, he has to play football because of the numbers.
It was a change of pace for Blair Phillips this fall. For the first time since he was 9 years old, Phillips was not a part of a football team. Having spent 4 seasons as the head coach at University Academy, the school opted to disband the football program after the 2017 season. Small roster sizes, the culprit.
Dressed out 15 at one point in time, dressed out 12 at one point in time. We went to St. Mary's and played. It looked like a basketball team standing on the sideline. Wins and losses started being kind of dictated on the numbers that we had. Like, you got to look at player safety. And, to have those kids playing, not just 2 ways, but 4 ways and not coming off the field at all, that's hard.
Player participation in Central Louisiana is just a small part of what is becoming a nationwide epidemic. As costs continue to rise, as does the fear of injuries, the National Federation of State High School Associations released last year that just over 1 million kids played high school football in 2017, a 2% drop from 2016, which is part of a 6.6% drop this decade. However, Louisiana, a state that is currently at the top in producing the most NFL players per capita, is not nearly feeling those effects, and in some cases is even seeing an increase of players in some areas, which makes what is going on in Sinlaw a bit puzzling. The Ash Trojans are one of the few schools in the area that are not having any issue filling out a roster, coming off of a run to the second round of the playoffs for the program's most successful season since moving up to Class 5A. Head coach Thomas Bachman has things trending upward. But when competing in a district made up mostly of teams in Northeast Louisiana, headlined by an established power in West Monroe, the Trojans are still fighting for respect.
They've been the standard bearer for decades now, and Northeast Louisiana is very committed to athletic participation in high schools. I mean, I think they do it really well up there. I think it's a great thing that we're in that district, because if we're not trying to improve, then what are we all doing here?
Since the LHSAA split to select and non-select playoff brackets back in 2013, the Baton Rouge area leads the way with 16 state titles won, New Orleans right behind with 13, as is the Southwest Louisiana area. Shreveport has won 6 championships in that span. The Monroe area has 5, while Central Louisiana's lone championship came when the Manny Tigers lifted the trophy 5 years ago. Bachman pointing out that those areas have established youth football programs, something that is missing in this area, which means for some kids, high school is the first chance to put on the pads.
We get a lot of kids that are freshmen and sophomores, and they say, well, I've never played, and come give it a try. And it's amazing what a kid can become when they show up for a solid year and they work and they listen and they pay attention. It ends up playing a pretty significant role by the time they're a junior or senior, just because they've showed up and they've stayed dedicated to it.
So as Central Louisiana looks to fix its football problem, it's not, however, confined to just one reason. In the case of schools like Grant and University Academy, it's the lack of players, while for Ash, it has been lack of player development prior to high school. Both maps tracking back to monetary support from the higher-ups, which brings up an interesting chicken or egg argument. Does the winning bring about the support, or does the commitment from fans and school boards lead to more wins?
Winning cures all. If you win, you have a winning program, and people believe in that program, then you'll be able to pull kids. I'm not sure that football is taken as seriously as it is in those different places. And it might not even be about talent, because I feel like you can develop talent. It has to be a certain mindset that goes into wanting to do that.
Or could it just be that the amount of schools outnumber the kids?
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with coaching, because I think we have pretty good coaches in our area. I think it's just the number of athletes. We have so many schools in the area, you know, if they were to combine, you could have some West Monroes and some Ouachitas and like we do in the North Louisiana or down south.
The equation for winning is something that the coaches in Central Louisiana continue to try and solve, with the hope being that once one team figures it out, the domino effect would take over and the area would catch up with the rest of the state. And Bachman believes the solution is closer than others may think.
I think the sky's the limit here. I really do. We can live behind the excuses and continue to get the same results that we've gotten, or we can decide that we want more for ourselves. We believe in this building and in this program that we're the only ones that can limit ourselves. And I say that with conviction.